Guys, in today's video we are going to talk about how to create a new composition in After Effects and what does the elements you see on the new composition settings page mean. So that's what we are going to do. First, how did I get to this box or this page? It's very simple. You can either click on new composition here, or you can right click here, then click on new, and there are several ways you can get to new composition. And if you want to make changes to the composition, you can as well click on this composition settings. But oftentimes you will need to either press Ctrl N or just click on new composition. That's how to create a new composition. Then what does all these settings mean? First, the composition name down is very explanatory. You just need to put a name there. That's the name. Secondly, you don't need to, when you are just starting out, oftentimes, in fact, even if you are a pro user of Adobe After Effects, oftentimes you'll be needing these basics. So with the basics, it comes with a lot of presets. All of these presets are they are useful depending on what you want to do with the output of this After Effects project. Oftentimes, the default will be HDTV 1080 29.97. I'm going to explain all of that, and it will be locked. This HDTV is usually used for anything. Most of the videos that you see online now, they have the ratio of 16:9, which stands for 1920 by 1080 pixels, 1920 width and 1080 pixels height. Oftentimes that's what you see. And this 29.97, this is the frame rate of broadcasting. So when you see TV and things like that, they use 29.97, and for regular animation we use 24. Regular animation we use 24 frames per second. And coming back to this resolution, which is 1920 by 1080, you should put the resolution that serves well for where you want to post the video or the animation you're about to create. Let's say, for example, I want to create an animation that I'm gonna post on Instagram. Oftentimes Instagram is 1080 by 1080 pixels, so I'm going to set that to 1080 by 1080 pixels. But ideally, if you notice that this, if I set one, oh, that's this thing, new composition. If you notice, if I set the aspect ratio was, let's go back to that. The aspect ratio was 16:9, and it was locked. So if I set a ratio for the width, automatically it will be, the height will be generated because this has been set to the lock, and the ratio will be 16:9. But I don't want it. I want a ratio that I'll be able to set the width and height myself. So to do that, I'll just uncheck this lock aspect ratio. Then I'm gonna type in 1080 by 1080 because I intend to post the output of this project on Instagram. So that's why I'm using 1080 by 1080. You don't need pixel aspect ratio, just leave it as square pixels. Another thing that is very important on this page is the frame rate. What that means is that how many frame rates do we have per second? Because all these projects, Adobe After Effects projects, are measured in frames. So depending on the number that is set here, that's the amount we are going to have per second. Let's move ahead a little bit. The duration that we have here is 30 seconds. Do you think the project you are about to create will be in 30 seconds? Just put the amount of time. Oftentimes 30 seconds is too much for an animation, but it's better to have a higher number than to have a lower number. So let's say we want to use 30 seconds per second. It means we are going to have 29.97 frames per second. So for this animation, I'm going to be using 30 frames per second, and anything between 24 to 30 is okay. Oftentimes 24 frames per second is what is used in animation, and this is what is used in broadcasting. You can go ahead and use 60 and the rest, but anything between 24 and 30 is perfect. So like I said, we'll be having 30 frames per second. So it means we'll be having over 900 frames in this project, because 30 frames multiplied by 30 seconds, that's like 900 frames. So that's just it. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the background. Oftentimes you don't need to change the background color because you don't really need it. But the resolution that you see here is quite different from the resolution here. The resolution here is the resolution that will be when you are working on your composition resolution. So you can always change it, or you can just leave it as it is, then come here to change it. Notice the half here is what we have here as well. So that doesn't mean much. So that is the basic explanation of composition, how to create a new composition in After Effects. Ideally, if you understand everything that I just said, you don't need to know anything much. You already know everything that you need to create a new composition. Just know that there are three important things on this page, which is the main resolution here, determine your output size, and the frame rate, determine the number of frames you have per second with your timeline, and the duration of the animation. So that's it, guys. Please, if you learn one or two things from this video, please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Hey guys, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be explaining how to zoom in and out, the easiest way to zoom in using shortcuts, and then I will explain some other few tricks that you might want to need when you are working with files in Adobe After Effects. So without any further ado, let's quickly do that. For example, if you look at the composition, my composition window, you notice that the file that I have there is way bigger than the composition. So let's say I want to zoom out of this. There are several ways. You can either click on the zoom tool here, then you can just click on that, then it will be zooming out. It will be zooming out. However, let's say we don't want to come here. You don't want to come to, sorry. Let's say we don't want to come to the tools bar before we zoom in and out. The shortcut to do that here is just to click on the less than sign, which is the comma on your keyboard. When you click on that, Adobe After Effects will zoom out of the composition. And if you want to zoom in, just click on full stop, which is the greater than sign and key on your keyboard. Now you can see I'm zooming in. You can zoom out with less than. That's just it, guys. It's as simple as that. Another thing that I want to explain is that if you look at the percentage here, you notice we have a lot of percentages. We have 1% to 800%. This is the percentage, the zoom percentage that Adobe After Effects has used on our composition. So you might want to use this to zoom in and out. Ideally, if you look at the top as well, you are going to see fit. What fit means is that Adobe After Effects is going to zoom this composition to fit the screen so that we can see everything we are working on at a time. This will fit the composition to the screen so that you can see it in a very nice way. Ideally, you will see another one which is fit up to 100%. This is going to almost, they are the same thing oftentimes, but the major difference is that it's going to fit our file, our composition to 100% of the screen. And oftentimes, if this composition is not up to 100% of the size that we have, up to 100% of this composition, it will be very low, which you don't want it to be. So sometimes you want to be using the fit, the first one. That's it. Then let's say you let me give you a shortcut to zoom in to 100%, and that's to, you don't want to use the less than or greater than to continue zooming this out until it gets to 100%. You can just click on the shift, hold down shift and the question mark, then it will zoom in to 100% automatically for you, just like that. Down the shift and question mark, greater than to zoom out, as in less than to zoom out, greater than to zoom in. That's that. So with that, we have come to the end of the video. But before I go, let me quickly show you another clip, and that's what we use to the hand tool. Just like when you are swapping on your phone, you want to drag this composition to a particular part. So you can either come to the tools bar here, the tools panel, and select the hand tool, or you can use the space bar on your mouse. You notice I select the selection tool, but if I press space bar, automatically the selection tool will change to the hand tool. So when you press down the space bar, then you can use your mouse to drag the composition to where you want to see, and it's as simple as that. It's a very nice and handy shortcut that you need to know while working in After Effects. So thank you guys for watching up to this point, and please make sure to subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Hello guys, welcome to Heaven Creatives YouTube channel. In today's video we'll be going over how to create a beautiful animation using Pixel Lab. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. So using Adobe After Effects, sorry. So as you can see, I have nothing here, so I'll be creating a new composition, and let's just call this final design. Now we'll be using width of 1920 by 1080. .30 frames per second, and I want the duration to be 5 seconds. Then I'll click OK. Now you'll be presented with this composition. Likewise, we are gonna have our timeline. So basically what we'll be doing in this video is to create simple text ads to have a few images. However, the main thing will be text. So we just want to quickly go over how to create such an ad. So what we'll be doing is, first let's create the text that we are going to animate. The text that we'll be animating is simple, but I'm going to create a solid layer. So the solid layer will maintain the aspect ratio, the size 1920 by 1080, but the color will be different. So in this case, I want to use something like dark brown color. No. Okay, let's give it this black for example, but I want to give it they call it radial ramp. That's what I want to give the, I think we have it around there. Or I can just come to effect, right, and just make sure that layer is selected. Then under effects, just search for radial ramp. Search for radial ramp. Or gradient ramp. I think it's one of those two. Yeah, this is just drag it over the solid layer. Now we are gonna change the start and end color. However, I want it to have Ctrl Z. I want it to start from the middle. However, so instead of linear, I want it to be radial. So you get, so it will be something like this, and then this one will be just like that. So the initial color, we are gonna change the white color, which is the end color, to a very dark brown, just like that. Don't forget the color, guys. This is it. Okay. Now the top one, we are gonna change it to maybe something similar, however, maybe this, but it will be lighter. No, not complete white, but something like this, just lighter to some extent, which is what I actually want. When that is done, just leave the layer like that. We are gonna lock the layer, so as because this is the background layer, whatever we are doing will be over it, and if we don't lock the layer, we might just be moving it around, which is not what we actually want. So now that we have this, cool, the next thing we want to do is just create some circles. I'm gonna put a circle here, and I'm gonna put a circle here as well. Yeah, very, just to create a circle, just hold on this and click the ellipse to hold down shift to have a perfect circle. Good. Now the fill color here, we want to change it to radial gradient. Then we are gonna change the color. So this way you change the color. So the middle color, we want it to be this, what I want. One of the colors will be this, and the other color here, I want it to be a light version of this. However, I think we need to interchange these two, just like that. And moreover, I'm going to just add some lightness to both. Then okay, let's see how that looks. I think that's cool. We are going to remove the fill color, guys, so it has no fill color. Good. Now we are gonna make duplicate of that, but before that, let's just center the anchor point. Now to make duplicates is quite simple. Just Ctrl D on the layer. Now one of the duplicates will be far here, and the other one will be around there. So I think that's cool. The next thing that I want us to do is probably make another duplicate of this. Ctrl Z, just Ctrl D to make the duplicate, then drag the duplicate over here. Now we are going to give it some border or stroke like that, and this stroke, just leave it as white. That's right. However, we are gonna change the fill color. Just take away all the colors by using this none. Now, sorry, none. Okay. Now make duplicate of that. Ctrl D. Perfect. Sorry. Make duplicate of that layer. Ctrl D. Now we have two of those. So the first one, you can just put it around there, just to put some design. And this one too, just put it around there. Perfect. Now we have this kind of shape and design. So next thing we are gonna do is to bring in an image, or I would like to just start creating my text as from now. So we assume that this is a food, it's a restaurant banner design. So I'm going to type some text now. Then I'm gonna change the font first, but first let's center the anchor point. So I'm gonna change the color to white. Good. Then I like to increase the size. 120. I think 120 should be cool. Perfect. Then I'll make duplicate of that layer. Ctrl D. Then the duplicate, I'm going to change it to food menu. So now I'm going to change the font for the food menu. I think Sitka is kind of a cool one. However, I'm going to just center the anchor point real quick by using Ctrl Alt and the Home key. Now I'm going to increase the width, but first let's just be okay. So this, I'm going to increase. Perfect. I think that's cool. All right. Don't worry. Pretty soon now we are gonna animate this text. We are going to animate them. But for now, let's just finish the design. Then we can come back and start the animation. So now let's create something like a call to action. And to do that, we'll be using a rectangle, rounded rectangle actually. So I'm gonna have that, or I should probably reduce the width. Probably reduce the width. So where are we? All right.
Eh,
So I want this one to have a fill color. The fill color will be white. Be white. Then we don't really need it to have any stroke. So let's just leave it as it is. Remember to center the anchor point. Remember to center the anchor point. Then just put the text around there. Or we can just center it at the middle of the text also. So we are gonna put something in here as that's obvious. So all we are gonna put is text. I'm gonna duplicate this delicious. Now this second duplicate, we can just bring it around there, or probably take it above this. So we have it like that. Now we are gonna change the content to delicious. Sorry, order now. Now let's reduce the size, and we are gonna change the color to brown. So to change the color is kind of simple. Just use the color picker here, pick the color, and there you have it. Now we are taking it over onto here, which is cool. Now can you see that? But these two we are going to just make them a group, or we can just recompose the two. However, let's just wait for a while. We are still going to animation where we are going to make good use of that. Yep. Once all of these are set, we will need to put our website just below this, and that will be another text. We can use this, make duplicate of that, just bring it down here. Need to reduce the size as well, probably to 60. Then center the anchor point. Oh, sorry, skip. Center the anchor point, Ctrl Alt Home. Now just double click over it. Now type your website, www.food.com. I can't imagine how expensive that domain will be for now. Food.com. That will be super expensive. Alright, so we are gonna put that just below this. I think maybe we should just Ctrl Z. I wanna bring these two downwards just a little to have to put some spacing just between everything we've been able to do. Or these two are the same and these two are the same. They should just be like that. Yep. Honestly, I'm feeling some I think these guys are just are way bigger than they should be. But that doesn't matter, man. Just maybe we should just put these guys around there. Good. I think it's looking cool like this. Yep. So now we need to bring in our image. So let's see, to bring in our image on the, just come to the project window here, right click, then you go to import, select files. This will take you into your computer, then you can just locate your image. Let me use this. I'll be using this import. Now I have this image here. I'm going to take it onto my artboard, my composition, and then just press R to bring the rotation. I don't know, rotate it. Or I should just leave it like this. I think this is fine. Then just press S to bring the scale. I want to scale it up a little. Perfect. You can press P to bring the position as well. Let's just drag it inwards like that, and that will be the main position, guys. Good. Can you see something here? This is looking great already. So, but before we move ahead, there's something I still need to put. I want to put a rectangle that will fly from the top onto the bottom around there. And to create that, just long press this and select the rectangle tool. Now we are going to create a rectangle, something like this. But this rectangle, we are going to rotate it to some extent, just like that. Now we are going to just put it like that over there. Now what we are gonna do is just to give it some, I'm not so sure if white will be okay because we have been using a lot of white, but I'm going to take it down just below the food. Then we are going to create another circle ellipse that will have maybe 50% off or something like that. So to do that, make sure you lock the food layer and the rectangle layer. So just long press on this to bring the ellipse to. So this is the ellipse tool. Hold down shift and create a little circle, something like that is perfect. Now we are gonna change it to we should change it to, let's see what brown will look like. To do that, just use the color picker to pick one of the browns here. Does that look cool? If we use white, that will be white will be too much, I think. So let's go with brown again because that's the main color. And then we are going to lock the layer again, and we're gonna put some text over it. The text will be 50% off. So just press the text to 50%. And then Ctrl Z. Just drag it over here. So just center it. That's cool. Make duplicate of this guy. Just bring the duplicate downward. Double click and change to off. Select both layers, center the content, and there you have it. There you have it, guys. So what I'm gonna do now is I wanna create some little dots, those dotted designs. But probably I need to create another. Um, let's create a rectangle that will move across the whole page, but it will not have any fill color. Now press this. Select the rectangle. Just come to fill here. Make sure it doesn't have any fill color. And this, we're gonna give it, let's say 5. Let's see how 5 will look. Now we'll create a rectangle just like that. Opacity, you are gonna still not too small. Oh, I think 3 is fine. Can you see the design? It's looking great, guys. It's looking great. So another thing that we can do is maybe you can leave it like this, but let's just take the number up. Let's nudge it up a little, maybe to 5 or 6. I think that's cool. Now this is looking great. So like I said, I'm going to like create some little dots that you are seeing in designs. Maybe you can use text or whatever you want. But probably let's use the text tool. Let's just go with 5 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Selecting the color picker tool. So just press Z and scroll over that to zoom in. Select the layers. Just bring them around them. Now, I'm gonna increase their size to some point. I think that's cool. Now I'm zooming out again just to see if they are not too big. I think they are too big. Just reduce their size to 40. I think that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is make duplicates of them. Ctrl D, Ctrl D. Now we have 3 duplicates. So just bring them below each other just like that. So this other duplicate, I'm going to bring it downwards. Now this is where the work is. I'm going to nudge them up, shift to the right, to the right, right, to the right, 3 times. So this one I'm going to nudge it up 6 times. Alright. So now I have this group, so we can just pre-compose them. Just Ctrl Y, but we don't need that for now. So now that we have this group selected, we are gonna make duplicates of them, and these new groups we are gonna just just move it around. Yeah. Shall we wanna take it up? So you just put it around there. If it doesn't look good, I'm gonna delete it. Because I think first I'm gonna delete that top layer. I think if there are more than two, the effect is not that great. So, so I'm just going to enter. So so now that we have, I think we have all the elements that we need. Now we can start animating this design. So without any further element, without adding any more element to the page, let's just animate this design. So if you look at the design, where do you think the animation should start from? So me, I think we should start from the food plate, because as you can see, um, there is a movement in the picture naturally because it's facing up. So I can say for the spoon to be facing up and just the way the plates are, I think we can just bring in the food maybe from bottom to up, but we cannot just bring the food without having this white background because they are the same. Or let's do it this way. Let's work on the food. Let's bring it from bottom like I said, but instead of just coming from bottom, I want it to rotate in. So I'm going to set a keyframe for both the rotation I'm going to set a keyframe just press R, then Shift P position. We have our P and scale, Shift S. Now we have these three positions, so I'm just going to keyframe all of them. Now on the 10th frame, I want this foot to be on this point on the 10th frame. So what I'm gonna do is to Ctrl X my keyframes and Ctrl V them on the 10th frame. So on the 10th frame I get this, but right now as soon as the animation begins to play, I want to scale this downwards. You get the initial stage, and the position I want it to be down. The scale, let's change the scale to like 1%. Good. Then the rotation, just give it -38. or -30, whichever one you want. That's the initial rotation. So it's going to rotate in. Do you see that? Just going to rotate in just like that. And let's play this and see how it looks. The rotation is not that much. What if we put the rotation to something way different? So it's just going to come in. Yep, that's what I'm saying. Just let's play that again. Do you see that? The rotation is much in this one. So what we're gonna do is to select all the keyframes and easy is the keyframes. And something else that I want us to do, I think what will make this even look more interesting is if we add opacity to this. Now at the 10th frame the opacity should remain 100. Then at the beginning, let's just take everything downwards. So the opacity just continues to improve, come from nothing to something, just like that. So we are going to select both, press F9 or right click and go to easy ease. Like that. So now that we have this, what we are gonna do next is we are just going to what we are gonna do next is quite simple, guys. If you notice, the text is the main thing. However, because the food, this 50% of is beside the food, so maybe we should just animate that on the 15th frame, starting from the 15th frame, just immediately after the food gets into position. So what we are gonna do is this. These two, we have the 50% of this and the shape layer in which there. I'm trying to locate the shape layer here. Okay, I've locked it. So this tree, I'm going to pre-compose the tree. So I'm going to pre-compose the three objects. To do that, just right click over them, pre-compose. We are gonna name that to 50% off. Okay. Now they are a pre-comp, but there's something else that I don't want because the size is way too much. Just go to composition settings and then no, sorry, not here. Double click over that layer. Can you see it fills the entire screen? Now we don't want that. So what we're gonna do is to go to composition settings, then composition settings right here. Now we are just going to reduce their size. We are going to reduce their size. So now just press OK. So now we are just going to center everything. Now just go to composition settings. Now height. So now that we have that, we can just go back to our main design. So can you see that's looking great? Since it's a composition now, we can just drag it in any way we want. They are a single entity now. So what we are gonna do is um what we're gonna do is quite simple. I just want this to come in on this frame. So what we are gonna do, I'm just going to give it some opacity. So enable the keyframe here. Then just maybe on the 16th or 11th frame. So I'm just going to take that to 0. So after the food menu or the food has got into position, a frame after that, then this starts coming in. So let's see. You see 50% off. So I think that's okay. Keyframe assistant is easy. And if you think that is way too small, you can just nudge it up like 3 frames more. So that's actually what I want. Now as you can see, none of that is showing at the beginning, and which is what is cool. Now we want to animate the text. So we want to animate this text. So let me just where are they? I have delicious. This is it. And we're gonna do something interesting to these guys. We're gonna do something very interesting to this. And this is it. Just we are not using the transform property because the transform property will affect the entire text. However, I want to play around with the animate on the text here, which is this, or you can just come to more options and then play around with the options here. However, this is what we want to do. Animate. We are going to animate the position. Center that. So the range selector, should be, the unit is percentage. So the position, let's just want this to be 0. Something shapes. Thing is happening to this. I think I'm doing something wrong. However, we can just let's leave it. But the transform property, I'm very sure I know what that will do. So what we actually want to do here is probably just we want it to come in. Just come in after this. Maybe the 25th frame. Now I want the text to come in. So the position, I want to raise it. No, Ctrl Z. The position, it should just come from the top right there. And the opacity, no, sorry. On this frame, that's where I want it to be. What I'm gonna do, let me undo. That's where it is on the 25th frame. I want it to be here, so I'm just going to enable the keyframe on all of this. But on the 20th frame, you want it to be the position should be there, and the opacity, just leave the opacity as it is. You get the scale, however, let's take that down. So you're just gonna come in like this, you see, and that's what we actually want. So let's easy keyframes. So we have this. Do you see? Now the food menu, animation comes to the food menu now. Here it is. The food menu